This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining the colorectal cancer task force call today. My name is Devereaux Yellow Earring, and I am a patient navigator for the Great Plains Colorectal Cancer Screening Initiative. We want to welcome all of our task force members to the year 5 of our grant cycle. We are very excited to continue the work that we're doing in colorectal cancer and continuing to work with all of you to help increase the screening rates for our tribal communities here in the Great Plains region. So thank you all for being here, and thank you all for your time today. First slide I have here, we just want to do some introductions with people. Just a quick look at the agenda for today. Introductions. Any new task force members, or if this is your first time calling, we'd like you to introduce yourself. We'll touch base on a little bit about the upcoming subaward, the community grants that we have available to tribal communities. We're going to talk a little bit about a peer-to-peer learning session that we attended. We're going to talk a little bit about Poop on Demand and share some information about the South Dakota American Indian Cancer Data Report. And we have a couple of new resources that we'd like to share with you guys today. So with that, at this time, if there are any new task force members, would you be able to give yourself a quick introduction, or if you're a first-time caller, to let us know who you are?
Hi, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Cheyenne Jim, and I actually am an invited guest. Chad invited me. I work with the Albuquerque Area Southwest Tribal Epidemiology Center, and we are doing a colorectal cancer health screening project as well. And he invited me to join just to hear what y'all are doing with colorectal health in the Great Plains area. So I'm not a task force member, but I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for being with us today, Cheyenne, and thank you for introducing yourself, and welcome to the task force. I do have a couple staff members with me here to just do a quick introduction of themselves, so you guys can get familiar with our names and our faces.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm Gina Johnson. I'm a patient navigator for the Colorectal Cancer Screening Initiative. Thank you all for joining us today, and we look forward to working together with you.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Chad Radigan. I'm the program manager. Really excited for the first task force call here for year 5. So welcome, and I look forward to getting any questions that you guys have at the end.
And we also have another team member who is not in the office today. His name is Eugene Gallego, and he's also a patient navigator. So. Skip a slide. Okay. All right. So the first information that we want to share with you today, we have just want to give you a quick background or a quick report on some of our colorectal cancer subawardees. So what a subawardee is these are communities who have applied for our community grant that we award through our program. We were able to award, was it 20? 18. We were able to award 18 grants to subawards this year. We were able to, our program, the Colorectal Cancer Screening Initiative, we were able to attend 23 colorectal cancer events throughout the year. These 18 subawards that were given to these communities were able to screen 1,976 people through our program and through the funding that we were able to provide to their community. So this number doesn't include any of the, might not include every screening within their clinic. So just wanted to share some of that information with you. And on the slides here, we just have a picture of our Roland colon and Nolan the colon. These are two inflatable colons that we use to bring to communities and do the colorectal cancer education with them. We also incorporate a pre and post survey, just surveying the community members on their increase in education about colorectal cancer. So and then we just want to go through a couple of the areas that we were able to attend this year. This photo here is from the Trenton Indian Service area. They're located in Trenton, North Dakota. We were able to bring up the Roland colon and do the education and be a part of their colorectal cancer event. And then here's a couple pictures from the Winnebago tribe of Nebraska. We were able to make it down to Winnebago and be a part of their annual health fair and also their colorectal cancer event. This one here is a photo of our staff with the Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa up in Belcourt, North Dakota. Again, they hosted a annual health fair and also a colorectal cancer screening event. Here's a photo from our staff from the Spirit Lake Nation. We were able to make it to Fort Totten, North Dakota, and set up at the clinic to do the colorectal cancer education and also help increase their screenings that were completed at the clinic. So, and here's a photo from the Flandreau Santee Sioux tribe out of Flandreau, South Dakota. We were able to make it over there with the Roland colon and do the colorectal cancer education and screening with their community. And here is the Sac and Fox tribe out of Tama, Iowa. We were able to bring the Roland colon down there for their annual health fair and assisted with their increasing their screening rates for colorectal cancer as well. So, all right. So the next thing we want to talk about with our task force members is the Great Plains Partners in Cancer Screening Conference. The Great Plains Colorectal Cancer Screening Initiative, which is our program, we partner with our sister program, the Great Plains Breast and Cervical Cancer Early Detection Program here at the Health Board, the Tribal Chairman's Health Board, to host an annual cancer screening conference. These are community members and stakeholders and partners from all across the region that will come in and we'll get together and we'll go over a lot of information that will be helpful and useful that they can take back and continue using in their community. So, during the Partners in Cancer Screening Conference, we were able to do an awards presentation to all of our communities who participated in our Show Your Blue GP social media campaign. The social media campaign is hosted in March. Every March, we do this campaign for Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month. And we encourage all of our tribal communities to get involved by showing, like wearing blue, like dressing up in blue and promoting colorectal cancer awareness. So during the awards presentation, we presented 3 awards for the first place, second place, and third place. First place winner for the Show Your Blue contest was the Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa. Second place was the Ponca tribe of Nebraska. And third place was the Standing Rock Sioux tribe. Their McLaughlin IHS service unit submitted a photo when they took third place. So The first place winners, they got a plaque and a canvas print of their photo that was submitted. And then second and third place, they got just a canvas print of the photo that they submitted to our contest. So that's always a good thing to increase awareness about colorectal cancer, and it's really good and helpful for our program and our communities to know that colorectal cancer happens every March. So in March, we hopefully this becomes a good tradition for our program and for our communities to continue raising the awareness about colorectal cancer every March. So that's always something our program gets excited for, and try to do different things every month for colorectal cancer awareness. So, another activity that we did during the Partners in Cancer Screening Conference, we hosted our annual in-person meeting, the Great Plains Colorectal Cancer Task Force in-person meeting. Every quarter we have a webinar like this, telecommunication meeting like this, but during our annual conference, we try to invite all of our task force members to come and be a part of our conference and do some work group meetings and share some resources and share successes and barriers, things that are happening in your community. We love to see all of our task force members come together and not only meet each other and see each other, but just continue to collaborate. And I think it's kind of a good occasion for us to get together at least once a year. So keep an eye out for our conference next year. We're hoping to get more turnout for task force members in the future. So during the task force meeting at the conference, we have our external evaluator, Brad Kruger from Asset Inc. He was able to touch on doing some data on evaluation and how evaluation can help improve and strengthen your programming for colorectal cancer. So, and then on the left here is a picture of some of our task force members and some of our community grant applicants. Some of them were able to present on their successes and barriers that they had throughout the year with their project. And on the right-hand side picture there is Brad from Asset Inc. And he's our evaluator. He's helps us with a lot of the evaluation and tries to continue improving our programming and improving our grant experience with our tribal communities. So thank you, Brad, for everything that you do for us. Another activity that we hosted at the cancer screening conference, we hosted a little activity with our task force members. We called it strategy mapping. So what the strategy mapping was about is getting feedback from our task force members on how we can refocus the task force coming up into the next year. So we were able to ask a few questions. We broke out into groups, and we got information and feedback to try to guide our task force into this next year. And we're going to compile that information and that feedback that we got and put it into a strategy map that will be available for your reference as task force members. And that will kind of be like, I guess it's kind of like a strategic plan. That's our little strategic plan that we're going to follow throughout the year with different focus areas, different goals, and different objectives that we're gonna try to work towards this year, going into year 5 of our grant cycle. So. And during the Partners in Cancer Screening Conference, we also do a social media campaign. The social media campaign is called hashtag GPFightsCancer. We encourage all of our participants who attend the conference with us to get on social media, to use this hashtag and show them that they're continuing to fight against cancer and continuing the fight against cancer on social media. And we also give out an award to the person who has the most engagement on social media. So it's kind of a good little competition or a good challenge for our participants to take part in that. So on the left-hand side here on your screen, there's a picture of our staff, the cancer programs here at the health board. using the banner for the Fights Cancer social media campaign. On the right-hand side here, we have our community members from the Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa area participating in the campaign as well. So, all right, the next item I'm going to go over with you guys is the request for proposals. I am happy to announce that we did receive our funding for this 5th year of our grant. And I think we're going to probably get that RFP sent out to our task force members and to our community members. If anybody is interested in requesting funds for a colorectal cancer project, we do have funds available for that. So keep an eye out for that email coming through. So one thing that we incorporate into the proposal or for the funding is evidence-based interventions. So just wanted to put this couple of slides in here that kind of give you a quick background about evidence-based interventions. This is kind of what our program focuses on when we give funding to tribal communities. The 4 evidence-based interventions that we try to incorporate are provider assessment and feedback, provider reminders, client reminders, and reducing structural barriers. And I'm just going to go through real quick and give you a quick background on kind of what those interventions are based on. So the first one we have here is provider assessment and feedback. This intervention evaluates the provider performance in delivering and offering screening to clients, kind of assessing how that process works. What will happen is we'll have this checklist for increasing screening, and we'll sit down with providers and their staff at the clinic and kind of go over this checklist and figure out what the best way to increase their screening is, if there's any assistance that they need, or if there are any areas that they need for improvement, or if there's anything that they're doing well. This checklist kind of helps guide us, and then it gives us that dialogue we can have to increase the cancer screening in their community. So, and then they get to keep a lot of material. They get to keep a lot of this material in their clinic for their reference, and they keep copies of all this information that is shared, and that way they can reference back to it, and they have that tool to continue guiding them as well. So the next evidence-based intervention I want to talk about is provider reminders. So this is a intervention that informs the healthcare providers that it's time for a patient or a client to be screened, or if that client is past due for screening. These reminders can provide different ways, such it can be provided in different ways. Like a lot of people have like EHR records and stuff like that, where it automatically gives them reminders that, hey, this client's due. I'm not sure if there are any other methods using, but a lot of them a lot of our communities will refer to their EHR system, their electronic health record system, to kind of help their providers get their screenings done and remind them about their screenings. So I'd be happy to hear if there are any other type of provider reminders that are being used by any of our task force members or any of our other communities, but I know a lot of it is done electronically now. So the next evidence-based intervention we want to talk about is the client reminders or patient reminders. These are interventions that will remind the patient or the client of their screening and when they're due for a screening, or if they're overdue for a screening. They can be followed up by printed, like a reminder card or a appointment card, or even a phone call. A lot of people will have a system in place where they will call certain patients throughout the year, once a month or every quarter, just to kind of give them a reminder to keep in touch with them and stuff about their cancer screening. And then you have other information too that kind of encourages them to come back, and you can have like a little wrap card or a fact sheet or something that you give patients after their first screening that kind of encourages them to come back in and get screened again. And then also providing some type of assistance for scheduling, kind of working with the patient and their schedule for their next cancer screening. So on the right hand side of your on this slide here, we have a copy of one of our patient reminders, our client reminder that we developed. This is a magnet that any of our patients can take home with them. It's a dry erase magnet there where they can use it as a little to-do list, but at the top there, you can see the date and time. They can write down the date and time of their next colorectal cancer screening. So I think this is a cool little tool, and it can go on your refrigerator. It's magnetized, and I think it's a really cool option for our patients to continue getting their screenings done annually. So. The next item I want to talk about is the last evidence-based intervention we want to talk about with you guys is the reducing structural barriers. This intervention is an emphasis on non-economic burdens or obstacles which can make it difficult for patients to access cancer screening services. So one of the biggest areas that our program focuses on is option number C. Offering services and alternative or non-clinical settings like having mobile screening clinics or vans at work sites or going out to residential areas. One way that we do that is through annual health fairs. So a few slides back, we talked about us going out and attending health fairs and colorectal cancer events. Our program really focuses on that because we feel that that's an alternative to actually going to the clinic. Rather than going to the clinic, they can attend this health fair, they can attend this CRC screening event and be able to get their screening information and education on colorectal cancer. One requirement for that option though is we have to have a public health nurse or a medical professional to assist us with the actual screening kits. So that's one of our requirements with that option is when we partner with these health fairs and CRC events, we always require them to provide us with the kits and a medical professional to help us with the education and how to complete that and what that process looks like. So, but yeah, just some information about reducing structural barriers and different options that you can explore through our program. So. Yeah. All right, so with that, I would like to hand over the screen to Chad Radigan, who is our program manager. He is going to be giving you some information about a training that he attended, and hopefully you will find this information useful with your work in your community. So.
Perfect. Thank you, Deborah. So good morning, everybody. Really excited to share this information. We went to Enhancing Cancer Program grantee capacity through peer-to-peer learning. It was put on by CDC, and they invited every breast and cervical and colorectal cancer program in the United States and outside of it to come and do a peer-to-peer learning in Atlanta, Georgia. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever done a peer-to-peer learning, but I absolutely enjoyed it. It's something that I'm hoping we can put into our conference this year when we have ours. It was just a lot of problem solving with your peers, which I know sounds simple, but it was actually a really good way to do it because a lot of people had a lot of different ideas that maybe we hadn't thought of, and we also had ideas that maybe these other programs hadn't thought of. So for us, it was very interesting and a lot of fun and good to meet all kinds of people from around the nation and other parts of the world. So the peer-to-peer learning, on the left-hand side, we took a team picture with the people that went from our programs, and then we also were able to go to and learn with our partners from the Cheyenne River Sioux tribe, and that was a lot of fun because they do breast and cervical, and our B and C program was also there. We were also to just trade ideas and thoughts on how to improve our programs when we got back. Then on the right-hand side, that picture is of my table. We were all split into different tables, and this was our team, and we were able to discuss just new ideas all the way from North Dakota. We had some people from New Mexico, and just able to sit down and talk about, what barriers we were running into and how, if we were able to come up with ideas, how to get over those barriers. And then also discuss what successes we had and get those ideas out to all these people that we had just been introduced to. So again, it was just very beneficial overall at the tables, but not only that, they had a lot of great presenters that were there, talking about sustainability and change, for instance. So the next slide here, it's the IHI Psychology of Change framework. So as you can see, the psychology of change is the science and art of human behavior as it relates to transformation. Now, the reason I put this slide in here is because we are on year 5. We are coming up, I mean, this is our last year. We're gonna apply for funding again. Hopefully we get it. But if not, the entire way that the subawardees will have to work, it's gonna be a change. So I put this in here because the psychology of change framework that they introduced was very important. You know, a lot of people are scared of change and the way that the processes work. I thought this was a great resource to put in here and share with everybody, even if you're not a subawardee, because we deal with change on an everyday basis, whether it's in our organization or our personal life. And this actually really helps. It's called the Psychology Change Framework, and it's known as the white paper. That's how they release it. I do have a link in here for it, but I wanted to share a couple things out of this with you guys while we're on the call together. So this is their model. It's called How to Activate People's Agency or their Change Agency. They have all these different steps. So the first one is how to unleash intrinsic motivation. So essentially what it is people's internal incentives. You know, why are they there? How do you bring that out in order for them to work harder at what you're doing? The next one is co-design people-driven change. So essentially at the end of the day with this one is, you know, how or who needs to be screened and how can they be a part of that change? And when we look at this from the CRC screening point is how do they want to show up? Deborah had talked about how we go to health fairs with our public health nurses and hand out kits, and we find that works very well in the communities. But is there another way that patients want to show up? Do they want us to mail out the kits? Is it easier for us to go to their home? So it's all about trying to co-design that people-driven change, the people that we are targeting, you know, how can we bring them into this to get their input and ideas? The next one is co-produce in authentic relationships. So change, as we know, is co-produced. It can't just be one person trying to change. It's got to be a team leading it, listening, inquiring, and seeing and committing to one another as a group. So for these authentic relationships, building that relationship is key. So how do people speak and engage? You know, do they speak a different language? Is face-to-face engagement the best thing to do, or do they prefer email or like we're doing now? So one of the things that we thought of for this is applying this to our provider assessments that we do that Deborah touched base on. So how do we engage the providers? What is their why? You know, why are they there? You know, we're all there to increase their screening rates, and just being able to translate that over to them that we're all here for the same reason, and that's to help, you know, that facility and the community. So to distribute the power, people can contribute their own unique ideas, and being able to distribute that power over the entire group so that everybody can contribute. You know, we always have in meetings, usually 1 or 2 people that do most of the talking, but we really want to distribute that power so that everybody talks, everybody has input. And this really, this framework really shows you how to do that. And again, for our provider assessments is, you know, how can we distribute that power over the entire group that we're there presenting to? So, and again, it's about establishing that culture of safety, that if somebody has an idea, we listen to it, and then we'll get any backlash for it. And then the last one is adapt and action. So this is a unique one. It actually is focused on learning and not the failure, which is, I know, hard for some people, but building that culture of learning is always very important, especially when we're doing CRC screenings. You know, we could try and mail kits, but if that doesn't work, well, what did we learn from that? You know, maybe the way that the patients want to engage, that's not the way they want to do it. So how else do we do it? You know, do we go to the health fairs? Do they want to meet one-on-one in person? Do we send out, you know, the public health nurses to do that? Just learning from what hasn't worked in the past is very important. So like I said, this next slide, it will give you the link to download this. It is free, but you do have to create an account to actually access the white paper. It doesn't take very long to set up. they also have a ton of other resources that are very beneficial that when I was looking through their website, I was really excited about. And whenever we send out the YouTube link to this recorded call, I can also attach the IHI white paper to that. But if you want to, there's the link to where you can get it and download it. One of the other things that we learned in the presentations and the breakout sessions in Atlanta was everybody does things a little bit differently when they check patients in or when they see patients. And this card got me really excited when we were there. It is a card specifically for women aged 50 to 75 years of age, and it's got all of their best medical information that needs to be passed on that they need to do that year. So they need to get routine care, the different blood tests they should be getting done, the different cancer screenings, and then the lifestyle questions. So the presenter, when she was talking about this, was her biggest thing was, I understand that you're here for a cold, but your doctor would like you to know these other things. They hand them this card. And I would be interested to see if anybody else on the call, any other clinics do something like this. It's something that we want to meet with our clinics about to discuss and see if we can get it into place. The small text at the bottom, I'm not sure if you can read it, but it's best medical information. It's done by the U.S. Preventative Services Task Force. So they have suggestions like aspirin use, cervical cancer screening recommended through age 65, blood glucose monitoring recommended in overweight adults 40 to 70, hepatitis C one-time monitoring, and then an HIV screening through age 65. So small text, I know, but this is just an example that we got for women aged 50 to 75. And then this next one is for males aged 50 to 75. So again, it's kind of set up like the women's one, but it's got different routine care, blood tests, lifestyle, and then cancer screenings. And again, it's got the fit on there, which is wonderful. And then the small text at the bottom, again, is just like the female one with the aspirin use, the blood glucose, the hepatitis C, and the HIV screening. And again, I'd be interested to see if anybody else has something like this at the end of the call, if you guys are using anything like this or implementing it. It's something that we want to start implementing within our own tribal communities. So again, super exciting, and we were very excited about it whenever we left. So these are some of the memorable takeaways from Atlanta. And there was a lot of takeaways when we were there just because we were all really excited. I have like 4 pages of notes, but these were some of the, I think, most pertinent ones for us. So while they were discussing the IHI white paper, I remember the presenter specifically said, you know, if we think of public health as a business, and then specifically CRC screenings or any screenings, we would realize that screening rates are our income. The more people we get screened, the healthier the community can be. And then screening is not a cost, but rather an investment into improving the overall health of communities we work in. And also one of the other takeaways we got is CDC is currently working on finalizing a document called the EBI Planning Guide. And it's a guide that will actually help you pick which EBIs you should work on and then how to implement them into your healthcare facility, which is really exciting. We are really looking forward to getting that so we can start working with all of our healthcare facilities. So again, these are just the memorable takeaways from my point of view. There was quite a few of them, but I'll send out that paper and the link for it whenever we send this out. So this next one is poop on demand, and a lot of people, you know, laugh about this. I mean, it is funny, but we actually received this video that I'm going to show you guys from the National Colorectal Cancer Roundtable. Our director Kinka had forwarded that email out to our task force on Tuesday, July 16th, and it's a kind of a preview of CL Brumbeck Primary Care Clinics. It's a community health center in Palm Beach, Florida, or Palm Beach County, Florida. And they received a 2017 80% by 2018 National Achievement Award. They were able to increase their screening rates from 21% in 2013 to 80% in 2016. And how they did that, one of the main ways they were able to do that was by implementing this poop on demand. And this video just kind of talks about, you know, how they did that and why it was so successful. So I'm going to show it to you guys now. Right.
Here, Poop on Demand was actually intervention that we collect the stool sample in the privacy of patient medical home. So what I do, I actually make the patients comfortable, and I tell them, hey, you know, we have a restroom here. It's really neat, really clean. So go ahead and just do the test here. And if you actually do the test here, you don't have to worry about mailing it out. We can actually give it to the Quest driver, and they'll take it right over to the lab for you. Just to try to make them feel as comfortable as saying, you know, you're a part of the family. Go in the bathroom, go ahead and have a bowel movement. That way you don't even have to come back and do it. We have one of our star MAs that I call her, Ms. Tiffany Haywood, where she makes the patients really, really feel at home by telling them, you know, you just have to do it. I'll go in and collect it for you. You can go home. If you feel like you need to do it, then you come back and we'll do it here.
Well, with the Poop on Demand, I found that it's a lot of language barriers. So to avoid hiccups, I usually like to walk my patients in the bathroom where the magic happens and wait for them to make their bowel movement. Many people find it strange to go in the bathroom and collect the sample, but it's no different from the facilities in the hospital. So I advise my patients to do the Poop on Demand to keep me from calling them constantly, to just get it done and over with. And it'll be more convenient for the patient and myself as well.
We want our patient to be engaged. And how do we do that? We do it by giving the opportunity to our patient to collect poop here in our clinic. Sounds different, but it works. That's what we call Poop on Demand here at Healthcare District.
Hi, my name is Lisa Chang. I'm a patient of Dr. Darnell Debu, and I came here and I basically have done a couple of tests. But one of the most important tests that I was offered was a fit test. It takes about 2 minutes to take your poop test, and it's very self-explanatory. They give you a small diagram, a small procedure of what to do, and it's really simple. It's important because it's extremely important to be preventative in your care.
And I'm here at St. Anne's Place today, which is a homeless resource center in West Palm Beach, to talk about our van, which is a mobile clinic that we use to outreach to the homeless population. Poop on Demand is, we ask the person, because of the population we deal with, we don't get a lot of the kits back with the specimen. So we ask them to provide a specimen right away. If there's a facility, that's a facility. If there's a bathroom, we ask them to go there. I show them how to do it. They go and they give us the stool sample, bring it back to the bus, and then we submit it to Quest for them. That way, we're guaranteed to get a result, thereby preventing colorectal cancer in the homeless population.
So I like their end tag where they say they're number one at collecting number two. It's a great end tag, and like I said, they were able to increase from 21% in 2013 to over 80% in 2016 just by taking this concept of Poop on Demand and making it feel more homey with their patients, and they were able to increase their screening rates, which is very interesting. And if anybody else is doing anything like this, we'd be interested to hear about it. It's something that we want to discuss with all of our subawardees and see if this is something that we can get set up in the clinics to see if we can help increase their screening rates by just having them do it there in the clinic instead of having to call them back all the time or send out reminders, hey, did you bring back your fit kit? Did you mail it? When are you going to bring it back? It's just a new concept and something that they were able to make really successful. So I'm going to go ahead and hand this back over to Devereaux, and he's going to discuss the South Dakota American Indian Cancer Disparities data report with you guys. So thank you.
All right. Thank you, Chad, for sharing your experiences about the training you attended. Hopefully next time I will be able to attend with you.
Absolutely.
This next item here is the South Dakota American Indian Cancer Disparities Report. This was a report that was, we partnered with the South Dakota Department of Health. The South Dakota American Indian Cancer Disparities Report highlights the unequal burden and disparities between white and American Indian populations in South Dakota. They focus on the breast cancer, cervical cancer, colorectal cancer, and lung cancer areas for South Dakota tribes compared to white. And on the slide here, we have a link here where you can get direct access to the report. And then if you want to order an actual physical copy of the report, there's a link available to place an order for how many reports you would like to order. So again, it focuses on South Dakota. We do have 9 tribes in South Dakota, and our program tries to work with all 9 of those tribal communities. And so it's really important to see how much work we've done, but also how much work still needs to be done with this report. So yeah, just another resource for you all for your reference. And if that's something you're interested in reviewing, feel free to access that report. This next item here, we wanted to share with our task force members. Our program staff here recently hosted a digital storytelling training by Creative Narrations. The purpose of this digital storytelling that we want to incorporate into our program is for our cancer survivors. We really want to focus on the survivorship component of cancer. We want to use this tool as a way to increase cancer screenings, but also help prevent cancer. We're looking to interview and create digital stories with some of our tribal community members who have won their battle against cancer, and kind of share that as a resource or as a tool, educational tool or prevention tool for our community members. And then also for our program to show if they did come through our program, we'd like to be able to highlight that our program was able to help them by telling their story. So on this next slide here, we do have a colorectal cancer story that we would like to share. This video was actually produced by one of our staff members, Gina Johnson, who is a patient navigator. So we hope you enjoy the video here, and I will hopefully this link will work.
Llewellyn Lunderman was a member of the Rosebud Sioux tribe. He was a loving uncle to his nieces and nephews. He was also a caregiver to his grandmother and other relatives. He liked to work on vehicles, fish, ride his motorcycle, and help with keeping the fire at his Sundance ceremony. In 2014, Llewellyn went to the emergency room and was misdiagnosed with hemorrhoids and prescribed antibiotics, suppositories, and pain relievers. He returned to the emergency room 4 months later with severe weight loss. After losing 120 pounds and in pain, his symptoms were so severe that he was flown to Rapid City, South Dakota, where he received extensive diagnostics and was diagnosed with late-stage colorectal cancer at the age of 55. It is recommended that adults 50 to 75 years of age be screened for colorectal cancer. After going through 3 operations, 6 sessions of chemotherapy, and his lifetime dosage of radiation, throughout 2014 to 2016, Llewellyn beat his battle with colorectal cancer, but it returned a year later, unfortunately ending his life. Llewellyn knew he would not survive his second battle with this preventable disease and accepted his fate. He was more concerned with keeping his family's spirits up and found support joining the Caroline Hart Cancer Coalition. Before Llewellyn walked on, he agreed to do an interview with the Great Plains Colorectal Cancer Screening Initiative and encourage other adults to complete the necessary screenings before they have symptoms. If Llewellyn was screened for colorectal cancer, he may have prevented this disease and still be with us today. Colorectal cancer is preventable. If you are 50 to 75 years of age, please get screened for colorectal cancer.
So we wanted to share that story with you guys just to kind of give you an idea of the type of stories that we're trying to create for our cancer survivors and for all the people who have won their battle with cancer, and also just even can be success stories too. If there's any type of success story or anything that we can use and create a digital story with to help increase screenings and help that prevention, we would be open to doing that with us, or to doing that with you, with our task force members, with our tribal communities, with anybody who is willing to help us create stories for our program. So all right, so the last item here for the call, we wanted to share a couple of new resources that we have created. The Colorectal Cancer Screening Initiative, we developed two new CRC educational fact sheets. The first fact sheet is a FIT kit steps. FIT kit is the fecal immunochemical test that they use for, it's a stool test that is used at some of the clinics. And then the second option is a colonoscopy prep and steps. And these resources will be available on our website. We're gonna get them published on there. Here's a link to get to our webpage, and you'll be able to download them and review them on your computer. So, and just want to give you a quick look at what the FIT kit steps looks like. This is just a 8-step fact sheet here. It kind of talks about how to complete the fecal immunochemical test if that's the test you're going to be using at your clinic. So, and then the second fact sheet here is colonoscopy prep and steps. It's just a little roadmap guiding you through the process of completing a colonoscopy and what to look for and what to expect. We also ordered a similar educational item to this. It's actually a large retractable banner that we ordered, and it is all about the colonoscopy preparation and process and recovery that people go through when they do a colonoscopy. So we're hoping to roll out that banner that we created at our next health fair, our next CRC event. It's a big pull-up poster, so hopefully it'll catch our community members' attention, and they'll look at it and hopefully get them prepared to get their colonoscopy done and prepare to prevent colorectal cancer. So, and that is all the information that we wanted to share with you guys today. At this time, I'd like to open up to any questions or comments or concerns that any of our task force members might have right now.
Well, I was in here with her and she was bawling and bawling and bawling and bawling, and I just let her cry because when she's at this point, she can't.
So if nobody has any questions at this time regarding the presentation or the programming, I guess we will end the call. Thank you. What's the next date? And keep an eye out for an email. We're putting together the schedule right now for the quarterly task force call. So we'll send it out. You should receive an email for the upcoming task force calls. So thank you guys so much for joining us today, and we hope you found this information useful, and we look forward to continue working with you all. So I wish you all a great day.
Thank
and
you,
this will be
Deborah.
recorded. Yep, this is recorded, and we'll send that out as well. So thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, how do I stop?